Good evening and welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. I am Aaron. I am your game master. We are back for some Warhammer Friday with Cubicle 7's Wrath and Glory. Take a couple of minutes for our players to introduce their characters. Then we're going to do a brief recap and then we're going to dive into the action. So we're going to jump over to the right here. Long, why don't you tell us about your character and how he's coping with his recent changes?
Yes, playing Wigbert Han, Death Cult Assassin. Last time I've been tainted with chaos, grew a mutation, which is a horn. So every time I've been putting on my hood, flipping it over, I've gradually noticed it getting caught on something. There's a nice little protrusion coming out of my head. And coping with it's some sort of sin. So I've been scraping it down every day, getting rid of it, but it keeps growing back.
Excellent. So, Wigbert, tainted by chaos, fighting against it, continuing on his mission. And of course, next to Wigbert might be a person who might have some issues if she found out she was working with a mutant. Melissa, tell us about Sister Nura.
Sister Nura is a sister of battle. Compared to like everyone else in the group, she made it out relatively unscathed, it would appear. Little bumps and bruises here and there, but comparatively speaking, rubbed some dirt on it and moved on.
That's right. Her faith kept Sister Nura strong. Somebody's faith didn't keep them quite as strong. So if we look straight down, Justin, why don't you tell us about V and what he's coping with?
So Gavious is a member of the Inquisition. I'm an Inquisitorial Acolyte. Currently, I got a little pink eye going on, a little bit of bacteria in there. So my little mutation is that my eyes are turning red like a demon's. And for me, like I just understand it's just part of par for the course of what I do. If you mess with the ocean that is the warp, sometimes you get a little pink eye. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how it's gonna go. So I'm not happy about it. That's why I wear half a pair of shades. Because I have one fake eye. But yeah, that's where I'm currently at.
Okay. So Gavious is sporting a shaded monocle of sorts to hide his taint from person to the left who also may have an issue with working with some mutants. Ashley is here. She's a ghost tonight, but she is here. Ashley, why don't you tell us a little bit about Sister Celeste and how she's coping with losing about half of her body in the last battle?
Yeah, better than anticipated. The first time she lost a bunch of stuff, it was rather jarring, but this time she now has an augmetic respirator, an augmetic arm, and now both of her eyes are augmetic. The only difference is maybe the hardest thing she's adjusting to is the respirator. I imagine it kind of functions better than her own natural lungs worked before. And so now she's realizing this new capability that she has to herself. And all in the name to serve the emperor, you know?
Absolutely. Or all praise the Omnissiah, right, Jeff? Talk to us about Beric and his new discoveries.
So Bertalov, Brother Birk, Adeptus Mechanicus, Electro Priest, Fulgurite Order, we know this. He was gifted a blessing from the Omnissiah as reward for defeating the infidel, the creature of chaos. And over the last few weeks, he has noticed there have been times when danger, some small, sometimes very noticeable, he would just shift forward in time or slow backwards in time here and there, as if the Omnissiah is reaching down and trying to shift Brother Birk into the exact point, the exact position in time in which he is needed. All praise to the Omnissiah. All praise.
Indeed, all praise to the Omnissiah and the Emperor. And we'll see if our three mutants find problems with further corruption as we continue our adventures. But let's jump back into the recap. Briefly, if you weren't with us 2 weeks ago, a stasis coffin burst open containing a traitor marine chaos champion. The crowds went wild. A couple of gangs ran. A Drukari and his Aldari slipped away. But our valiant team stayed to go toe to toe against the Chaos Champion. And they discovered that Loxon, a secret interrogator working for Inquisitor Argyle, and his team managed to stop the cultists who were there to assist the Chaos Space Marine. They fought hard, they fought valiantly. Since they're all still here tonight, they obviously won. At the end of the night, several of them were physically beaten, emotionally beaten, but they were standing, as was Inquisitor Loxon, who called in Interrogator Argyle to come and bring a sweeper team to clean up the site. It was agreed that they were never there. They disappeared. Time goes by. Helene Veronius and the Veronius flotilla has probably been trying to raise them for weeks. There's been no contact. We slip down through the Gilead system, hover over planets, quickly fading in and out. We find ourselves, is it a small moon? Is it an asteroid? What planet is it orbiting? We don't know. But as we drill down deeper, we realize that we are in the bowels of a hollowed out asteroid that's been reinforced and has become a black site for the Ordo Hereticus. And this is where our 5 team members have been recuperating for about the last month. There's an excellent medical facility there, and Sister Celeste has been in surgery after surgery. Sister Nura, Wigbert Hahn, Gavious, Birk Talib, you've all been questioned, at first solely by Inquisitor Argyle and his personnel. Now, questioned is the right word. You were considered fellow members of the Inquisition or an inquisitorial team. So you were given a benefit of a doubt. So these questionings, though long and arduous, were not overtly physical or damaging. At the end, all the information you provided aligned with the information that Inquisitor or that Interrogator Loxon provided. And Inquisitor Argyle was satisfied to the point that he notified Inquisitor Wrathborn of your location and Helene Veronius and the Veronius fleet. A day or so later, Inquisitor Wrathborn showed up and went through his own battery of questions with all of you. What did come out of this meeting was that Inquisitor Wrathborn and Inquisitor Argyle put aside their differences and realized that they were hunting the same smuggling ring from different perspectives and different positions, and they actually decided to pool their resources in an attempt to get to the bottom of what was going on with this system-wide smuggling ring. Some fallout that you found out about probably on your 10th day at the facility is you were notified that High Luminant Ossifa of the Church of the Electro Priests and Axiarch Thracia, the Titan Guard captain, were both imprisoned by the Inquisition and publicly executed for heresy, for allowing such a dangerous piece of equipment to slip out of their control due to their own political nefarious machinations. You were also told that Archdominus Vakul, the leader of Balaxia, took her own life in the Omnisci's name moments before an Inquisition team arrived to question her for her lack of security at the vault where the stasis coffin had been held. With much of the leadership of Balaxia now having been executed by the Inquisition, the Veronius flotilla has established leadership over the Balaxia hive temporarily until the Mechanicum can elect or select a new leader for Balaxia. So the Hive City is in a state of martial law, but work continues. The Omnissiah's forces are nothing if not adaptable and understanding under these circumstances. It was probably a little over 2 weeks into your internment here and your recovery here when Canoness Jean-Grace de Misa arrives to speak with Sister Nora and Sister Celeste, who has just come out of her last surgery. So we find ourselves in Sister Celeste's hospital room when the Canoness arrives. The doors are sealed. You see a couple of Ministorm Crusaders standing outside of the door, protecting and guarding the room. She pulls out a device and activates it. You feel pressure in your ears and in your sinuses and a hum. And then she looks right at you, Sister Nora. Sister Nora, first, let me say that I am very proud of you and you as well, Sister Celeste, for your efforts in protecting the Imperium of Man and ensuring that the litanies of the Ministorum are carried out. I have been briefed on your recent activities and the horror that you had to face, but you were triumphant in taking down this blight upon the galaxy, this corrupted traitor. For that, you will both be recognized on the Shrine World when you are able to return home. But I have other questions for you, if you're able, Sister Celeste.
Of course, Canoness.
Sister Nora, Sister Celeste, we, as you know, are cut off in the Gilead system, so we must be all that much more diligent in our pursuit of purity within the Imperium of Man. I have agreed with Inquisitor Argyle to second the both of you to his retinue as members of the Ordo Hereticus. You two sisters will be his agents in ferreting out the heretic, the mutant, the cultist. You must be the strong arms and burning flame of the Emperor. I tell you this in confidence, because the Inquisitor has asked that no other member of your team be aware of your new assignment. As much as you guard against outside influence, you must watch those within your own team. They also have stood against a great force of chaos, but without the faith in the Emperor that the two of you have to prove yourself pure. Before I leave, we will go through the litanies, and I will confirm your purity. And then you will take up this holy mission. Do you accept these charges, sisters?
Without question.
For the Emperor.
Excellent. Then take my hands. She reaches out her hands, and you see that she's wearing this intricate gloves with these psycho circuitry through the palms. And as soon as you grasp her hands, you feel the power of her faith surging through you. And it's almost like her presence is pushing through your body, through your bloodstream, through your bones, into the very DNA that makes you. It's cold, it's terrifying, it's painful, but at the same time, it is uplifting. It seems to last for days. And then you feel her pulling back, retreating, and you realize that only moments have passed. You are both clean. In the Emperor's name, your faith was as strong as I suspected it to be. And at this, you see her nod, and you see the true Crusaders outside of the room withdraw. You have your mission, sisters. If you need further assistance, if you have concerns, about any of your team members or anyone else working with either Inquisitor Wrathborn or Inquisitor Argyle, notify me immediately, and I will dispatch others to assist you. In the Emperor's name.
So it shall be.
She makes the aquila on her chest, and then she withdraws. A few days pass. Sister Celeste, you're actually able now to get out of bed, to move around. You're adjusting to your new augmentations. It's been about 3 weeks at this point, and it's at this time, Wigbert, that you start to feel the first protrusion of this horn, and you start to file it down to deny the corruption with your own body. Gavious, it's at this time that you look in the mirror and see that red sheen in your eye and recognize that, much like others who have fought in the name of the Inquisition, you've suffered a wound that goes beyond the physical. And Birk, it is at this point that you realize you've been blessed by the Omnissiah with greater gifts than any other electro priest you have known, and you are sure that it's the Omnissiah's favor for slaying a Chaos Marine. That morning, Inquisitor Wrathborn and Inquisitor Argyle come to you all. We have a ceremony that needs to be conducted. Interrogator Loxon is to be honored as a hero of the Imperium. He would like to speak with you all first, and then the ceremony will commence. And you're taken into a room, and then on the other side of this large glass window, you see Loxon on the other side, and he's strapped into a frame, and he's looking at you. What you notice about him, though, is there's a slight silver sheen crawling up his neck, and you see that his arms and shoulders seem bulkier, and they also have a very metallic sheen to them. And he looks at you all. He's like, "My friends, I choose to call you friends at this point in my journey because of what we suffered together. I want to thank you for allowing my last actions as an agent of the Imperium of Man in the eyes of the Emperor to end in glorious success, to be able to put down such a horrendous foe. I just wanted to thank you for being there and for seeing this through with me. Gavious, I would ask a favor of you."
Sure. It's the least I can do for you.
Thank you. Oh, and he nods his head. He can barely turn his head, but he nods his head towards an acolyte that was behind you guys. You didn't really see him. But he walks up to you, Gavious, and on this red satin pillow, you see a master-crafted bolt pistol. And it was Loxon's bolt pistol. And the grip is, you see the grip is, you can read in High Gothic litanies of wrath and litanies of imperial vengeance. And then on either side of the grip, as you look down at it, you see the figure of a saint on either side of it. On the one, and these saints are saints for imperial vengeance and hunting the demons. And as you grip it, you feel the imprint of the saints, one in the palm of your hand and one in the fingers. And as you hold it up, he looks you in the eyes and he goes, with my bolt pistol, with this consecrated holy weapon, I would ask that you end my life. And after he makes that statement, Sister Nora, Sister Celeste, you see two lesser sisters, not yet sisters of battle. They're in novice robes, and they come out, and each one of them have in their arms heavy flamers. And they say, "Sisters, you were to be given these sanctified flamers to use in the Emperor's name in purging the heretic, the cultist, and the mutant." And they give over these flamers to you. And then at that, Loxon chokes up a little bit, and then you see Inquisitor Argyle come to the front of the glass. He's in the room there with him. And he says, "Please, would the five of you join us in the room?" And you see two doors on either side slide open and give you access into the room.
Nura's looking at the flamer inside. This is kick ass. Outside, this is what she deserves, and she will use it well.
Excellent. As you go into the room, you see it's a bigger room than you thought. It was kind of shadowed, but in towards the back, you see a group of bald men and women in robes chanting and muttering, and they've got prayer strips to the Emperor, and they are all blind. You also see a Ministorum confessor there, and he comes to you, Gavious, and he makes the sign of the Acolyte and blesses you in the Emperor's name, and he says, "Please stand in front of the penitent."
I do so. I grab the pistol. I do so solemnly and stand in front of him.
And then he turns to you, Sister Nura and Sister Celeste. He goes, "Please, each of you stand to the side and face the penitent."
Sister Nura does.
Mm-hmm.
And then Inquisitor Argyle says, "We are gathered here today to honor a fallen hero of the Imperium. Interrogator Loxon was true to his creed, true to the Emperor, true to the calling of the Inquisition. His powers, his willpower, his strength to succeed were indomitable, and he did succeed where many else would have fallen. It is not a failing of his spirit that is judged here today. It is a failing of the flesh. Inquisitor Loxon presented himself to me as soon as this horror began to befall him, and he begged for the Emperor's peace. And so it is the Emperor's peace that we will give him today. We will rid his pure soul of his corrupted flesh, and this choir of astropaths will sing his soul to the Emperor's side so he may reside in the Emperor's embrace upon the golden throne forever. Never let the corruption of the flesh corrupt the soul." And with that, Inquisitor Argyle steps back. The Ministorum priest blesses the soul of Loxon and then spits on each side of his cheek, condemning the flesh, and then steps back. And you hear this droning hum come up from the choir of astropaths. And Gavious, you particularly feel this. You feel an incredible psychic conduit forming around them. It's almost as if they are trying to force the power of their minds, the power of their will, into the tightest beam possible to breach through the warp storm, to send this man's soul to Holy Terra, even though Holy Terra is cut off from redemption. You see Loxon tears coming down his face, but a smile. And he just nods at you, Gavious, and he says, "Please, I can't live in this corrupted flesh any longer."
I contemplate what he just said, that last little bit. I think about the burning behind my eye. I slowly raise the pistol, tighten my grip, burning slightly from the parts that are a part of it. Blow my own brains out. No. No. Slowly pull back the hammer and drive home the trigger. After
And-
doing
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
so, a small trail of smoke comes out of the barrel. I slowly put it down to my side and walk back to the procession.
And you hear this loud explosion. I mean, it's a relatively big room, but a bolt pistol is incredibly loud. And basically the head, Loxton's head disintegrates instantaneously. He would have felt no pain in that moment. The Ministorum Confessors then turn to you, Sister Nora and Sister Celeste, as the sound of the Astropath choir raises, and you begin to see blood pouring out of their eyes and their nose and their ears as they try to force the powers of their mind, this Gestalt psychic entity, across this horrible warp storm. And he simply says, "Burn the corrupted flesh until there is nothing left."
I like to think that like we just both automatically stepped forward once the shot was put forth and both immediately fell into line and just burnt the body until it disappeared.
Absolutely. And the ash that was Interrogator Loxton falls upon the ground. And then the sound of the astropaths fall back to a hum and then fall to complete silence. And without saying a word about what just happened, Inquisitor Argyle turns on his heels and goes, "You have a mission briefing in 5 minutes." And he walks out.
I think Byrrc
I would say
is finally willing to do something. As this entire ceremony, he has just been thinking, this is an extraordinarily waste of our energy and our time. The flesh is weak, as can be seen. If his weakness, if this weakness wasn't already evident, we can't even reuse the flesh and recycle it in a way. So like he's just sort of disgusted, and he will follow on the heels. Yeah, and in no way caring about anything that actually has happened. Like in his head, he's just thinking, effectively, "I told you so." Is sort of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sort of looking in silence at the flesh burning, knowing that I'm corrupted myself. How can I tell anybody about this? Just gnawing at my lips, suppressing that feeling of my horn, the numbness there that's fell down.
I love it. By the way, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, kind of, I would say, like, as the kind of burning before it kind of the body burns out, Nora would just look to Sister Celeste. She would just say, and just kind of gesturing towards the flames, the beauty of the Emperor.
And she just kind of nods, weak as the flesh, as she mimics Talov, and she follows behind him and leaves.
Wonderful. One thing we didn't mention at the top of the hour is everybody has new objectives. So if it comes up tonight, just tell us what the objective is, and then you'll get that wrath point. For Sister Nora, Sister Celeste, and V, I did already add these new weapons to your character sheet, so they are in there.
Awesome. Question. When
Yes.
I re-rolled mine is purge a heretical item or individual with holy flame.
You got it. There you go. You got 3 wrath points.
Look at you.
You're off and running already. So as you file out and you follow Inquisitor Argyle into a conference room, you see he's in there. You see Inquisitor Wrathborn is in there as well. They're like, Argyle first says, "I just want to thank you for assisting in that ceremony. Loxton was my best agent here in the Gilead system, and it's a loss to my retinue. But he did the right thing, and I commend him for his strength of character. That's the last thing I'm going to say about Loxton. We have a problem. Well, we have a situation, and you're the solution to it. After we pulled you out of Odo, we had a group of tech adepts and some of my own agents scour everything that was left there. We found some corrupted cogitators. The machine spirits were angry and ragged and feral, but the tech adepts were able, after several weeks, to calm the spirits and glean some information from them. One of the most important things they discovered was that there was supposed to be another item for auction at Odo, a heretical book titled Theories of Change, a study of controlled mutation by Magos biologist Fex Sever 9. The book is on the proscribed list, obviously, and for obvious reasons. It was supposed to be brought from the Hive world Aldean on Tribbidian up to the auction, but the shuttle never left, and in fact was tagged as malfunctioning and was then taken from one of the lower shuttle docks into a maintenance area there in the Hive. You were to go there, you were to retrieve the shuttle, you were to find the book, you are to kill the servitor that is the pilot for the shuttle because it may itself be corrupted, and pull any cogitators on the shuttle so we can determine if there is any information about who had first requisitioned the shuttle, and may provide us another link back to the smuggling rings. You'll be given access, you'll be given travel orders to Adon and a shuttle yourselves to get there. You are operating as Inquisitorial agents on this mission. There's no reason or need to hide who you are or what you're capable of. Use the full force of your authority if necessary to get this shuttle, get this book, and get it back to us. Questions?
Nura just looks down because she spent a bit of time outside of her power armor, and that was quite unpleasant. And so kind of as saying sort of, we don't need to change our identities or anything, she just sort of like looks kind of comfortably back down, kind of being in her kind of usual garb, and just sort of has a little nod of like, okay, much better just to be in my own gear.
Yes. If there are no questions of the team, the shuttle bay, shuttle's waiting for you. A pilot will take you to Adon. He's taking you directly to the lower shuttle dock. It's about 2/3 of the way down the Hive Spire. Speak with the dock master there, find the shuttle, and complete your mission.
Consider it done.
Excellent. And he turns and walks out. He and Wrathborn both are conversing about some other topic, and they leave. Is there anything you guys want to do before you head out? All right. So we are, as with all good action movies, we're going to skip the boring shuttle ride from this undisclosed black site to the Hive world. Or to the Hive of Adon. But as you were coming down into the atmosphere of Cherubadon, this may be the first time some of you are at this world. It is basically a complete marine world. It's covered in oceans. There's great mists and clouds, and incredible rainstorms pelt the planet at all times. It is much of the seas are industrial sludge, but there's been enough of an effort to keep some of them clean because the greatest export from this planet are the byproducts of the great world fish, which are huge Leviathan sea creatures. You go down, the fog gets thicker, the cloud cover gets thicker, rain pelts against the shuttle almost continuously, turning to hail the lower you get and the closer you get to the landing bay down the side of Hive Adon. But the shuttle pilot is a professional, and he brings you in for a painless landing. You feel Earth beneath you again, and the back of the shuttle opens. The pilot just looks behind you. He's like, I was ordered to wait here for you. I've been here before. If you just go straight out the bay, There's a prefab building right on the other side of the docking bay there. The dock manager's in there. He knows you're coming. He's already been notified that you were on your way. He doesn't know why you're here, but he knows that an Imperial delegation is here to see him.
Can we say, Sister Nura, sort of given the instructions that Celeste and I were provided with, can we say that she is sort of keeping an eye on the non-sister companions? I don't have very good awareness, so I'm not necessarily thinking anything's going to come of this, but just looking for anything that might have changed in the last month.
What is your passive awareness? It's on the combat tab.
2.
Okay. You don't notice anything out of the ordinary with Byrrc or Wigbert or V at the moment. None of them seem to have been impacted. They're acting the same. They're speaking the same. They're not showing any signs of madness or any kind of mental deformity or mutation. And there's no obvious outward physical changes that you've noticed as of this point. Give me Celeste and Nora, give me a straight awareness check. DN3. I just want to see if you've noticed any more overt changes. Okay. 3 successes for Nora.
For Nora.
5 for Celeste. Okay, I will say, other than this, the only things you guys have noticed is Wigbert. Occasionally you see him brush his hood, maybe a little bit more than you had in the past, but you don't really make much of it. And Gavious has new eyewear that he's wearing almost continuously. But no overt actions that would seem concerning.
Okay. You're satisfied for now.
Yara also still has her flamethrower, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
So just a single bead of sweat comes down.
The heavy flamer that I equipped on my character sheet.
And you guys you don't know enough about Byrrc's physiology or abilities to make any kind of rational determination of what you're seeing right now. That's for sure.
Got it.
That may change in the future, but at the moment. So what do you do?
We're gonna go head to that dock and
Yeah.
Okay.
Straight there. Yeah.
And when you get in, you see this. There's several desks in here. You see several low-level clerks. They've got their neural ports. They're hooked into their styluses. They're working on their cogitators. It looks like they're balancing probably docking manifests and shuttle times and all that. You do see one individual walking towards you in a slightly nicer jumpsuit, but I mean, he lives 2/3 the way down the spire of Adon. He is on a low level of Imperial society. He's not from the lower hive, but he's about as low as you get before you find yourself in the lower hive. And he's wringing his hands and he's sweating profusely. He's bone thin. Obviously does not get much food. His skin is very sallowed and jaundiced in appearance. His hair looks like it's been falling out for quite some time, but you guess he's maybe 22 standard years old. On my luminaries, we were told to expect you. Well, how may I serve the Emperor? And he is petrified of the two sisters. You think he's probably both petrified and almost in a state of holy ecstasy. Those two emotions are warring across his face. You would expect he is never imagined in his wildest dream that he would ever meet one sister battle, let alone two.
You are wasting time. Take us where we need to go.
And he pisses himself and he falls to his knees. I don't know where you need to go. And he puts his head to the floor.
And Nura just looks at Celeste. She's being rude, so she just sort of grins a little bit. You have failed us then.
Let's do a check here. I want to see what happens here with this. Give me an intimidation check. Difficulty 1.
In 1. Okay. 2 successes.
2 successes. You hear this sobbing noise, and then he just falls over. He appears to have fainted.
And
Celeste, like, Nura, he's but a common, and she'll kneel down and carefully away from his mess that he's made, and gently tries to like rouse him.
Okay,
it's not hard. Someone better
smelling
equipped
salts
for this,
what have you.
It's not hard to bring him back around. And he's kneeling before you, and he's kissing the boot of your power armor. Sister, I'm so sorry. They just told me you were coming. I don't even know why you're here. I'll do whatever you want.
It's okay. Please rise.
And he gets up. He's very shaky. He looks like he's going to throw up, but he's on his feet. He's not looking at any of you. He's just looking at the ground now.
And Celeste will calmly, with a very like monotone voice, list out what we're looking for and ask, please direct us to this location.
Oh, you want a shuttle in the maintenance bay? Okay, sister, I can help you with that. And he scuttles back to his desk, and in that moment he looks competent. It's like he's going through muscle memory that he knows. He plugs his neural ports in, and he begins to work on his cogitator. And then his face, you didn't think it was possible for his face to be any paler than it is right now. But it loses color. And he looks up at you, Sister Celeste, and you're the only person he's looking at now, and he's crying. He goes, Sister, that shuttle, it's not here anymore. It's not even intact anymore. It's not even a shuttle anymore.
Okay. Is it still here, or where was it taken?
No, it wasn't taken. I mean, not all of it. Not some of it's here. Some of the parts are here. 3 weeks ago, a Magos named Carburest came to look at the shuttle to determine if it was salvageable, and he said that the shuttle was a loss and that it needed to be scrapped, but that he was going to repurpose the servitor and the cogitators and the shuttle storage bays, and he was going to install them in a worldfish sample retrieval skiff to help him in his research. So he spent a week or so scrapping the shuttle. I mean, we've got its engines. I can show you its engines, and some of its nav comp is here. And they're plating, the exterior plating, the iron cast and ceramite plating is here, sister. But, I mean, the rest of it is... He took the rest of it with him.
Did he
Sister Nura had come out of his eye line, and, like, as he starts talking, Sister Nura comes back around behind Celeste with her arms crossed at this information. She doesn't say anything.
Snot's pouring down his nose now. He's just sobbing, but he's trying to talk and sob at the same time. I mean, he said the Magos, he had a writ allowing him to do it, and he said that he said that he was doing research on the world fish, so he's got to be down at the dismantling yards. Sister, I'm so sorry. I did not know. He had authorization.
It's okay. Please breathe.
And
And Celeste will glance over at Talov, because you said that there was still directionary pieces available? Or
There's part of the nav comp system. Part of it was here. He said it was destroyed beyond repair, so he left it here for possible wiring retrieval. He said things that didn't make sense. He said that machine spirit was corrupt in the shuttle, but that the machine spirit for a particular cogitator was okay, and that the servitor had not been infected. I'm sorry, sister. I just run the docks. I didn't understand hardly anything he was saying to me.
okay. Well, I may be back to speak with you, but we are going to find this Megas Carbarus. Thank you.
And you see him, he reaches out and like just touches his fingers to your gauntlet. Sister, you have you ever been to the World Fish docks? Do you know anything about the World Fish?
If you have any information you wish to tell me, I would.
I don't know much, but I think you should talk to an administratum official who's responsible for the World Fish quota before you go down there. This was before like my great grandfather's times, but some Imperial agents. I mean, there's always been this rumor in this story that there'd been Imperial agents who went down there in the past and harassed the workers down there, and they just disappeared. The world fish is the life of the planet. I know a guy in the administratum who's responsible. Well, one of the guys responsible for the quota. He lives in my hab block. If you go talk to him, it's on the way to where you got to go anyway. He might be able to smooth things over for you, sister.
I would appreciate that. Can I know your name?
Oh, sister, I'm Theodopoulos.
And Celeste is going to take the time to pray over Theodopoulos and thanks for his assistance. And then she'll get the name of his dock worker friend and
give yourself a wrath point for that. And you see this lowly worker's face. His entire demeanor lights up. This is probably the single greatest moment of his life. The closest he's ever felt to the Emperor is in this moment, and you see it radiating out from his smile. He's almost shaking with religious fervor at what you've just done for him. But he gives you the information on where to meet this administratum official, who's named Bear E. Bear E. And he gives you directions to where it is. And it's very near the freight elevators that go down to the World Fish dismantling yards. They've got basically a complex of offices up there. And he even tells you, goes, take this tram, and it'll take you right there. It'll take you about 45 minutes to get down to that level, and you'll be right there, sister.
thank you. Praise be the Emperor.
Praise be the Emperor. So, do you head down?
So, just wanted to point of clarification really fast. The shuttle, the stuff that was remaining of the shuttles, the navigational navigational unit, they claim that the Magos claim that it was corrupted, like the machine spirit was corrupted.
Yeah.
Claimed that the machine spirit was corrupted and was burnt out, and he left it for salvage, mainly for wiring.
Can Byrrc confirm that?
Yes, absolutely.
So can he get Theodopoulos to direct him to this system so that Byrrc can confirm? So
Theodopoulos looks over at Sister Celeste. Is that okay, sister?
Yes, please.
And he reaches out. He doesn't actually touch you, Byrrc, but his hand hovers over. He's like, this way. And he kind of scuttles off outside of the building into a back area along the docks, and you see a large maintenance sheds, and you see other shuttles in there in pieces. And he takes you to an area, and you see shuttle engines there. You see some plating, and then he shows you a box that's got what looks like probably was the nav computer at one time. But you give me a difficulty 3 tech check.
Okay, so Byrrc and Hasterkrava will
correct
get to work on this and trying to see if there was in fact a machine spirit that was burnt out of here, if something still exists, or if there's anything that's kind of still going on. All right, so it's okay. So 7 successes, but a wrath complication.
Let's see what the complication is.
Okay.
And a possible shift.
I lose some of my war gear. I don't really carry anything but my robe and my
We're just going to
staff.
ignore that for now. I've got a complication in mind that may pop up later. Minor one.
Okay.
What you're able to almost immediately discern is that this nav comp was purposely destroyed with concentrated blasts of radiation.
Okay.
Probably
And-
from a Tech Adept's weapon or a Scutarius radiant weapon.
Okay. And so Birk would conclude that they basically tried to obliterate whatever machine spirit operated. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
All
Your assumption is someone purposely tried to destroy this navigation module so that no one would know where the shuttle has been.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So he will turn to Celeste and the others, and he will say something to that effect, sabotage. They obliterated the spirit of radiation. We shall get no more information from here. This Magos is a heretic, and he starts like mumbling a little bit, as I think because of my echoes I think triggers on complications.
Right. On a complication, that's right.
I think I can choose to activate it, but I think maybe what happens is while I'm working on it, and as I get up, I like move just a touch faster. Like my hands just move just a little bit faster than you think they would move. And then he like turns around, debriefs. His voice modulation goes a touch faster than it should. And then it slows down really quickly as he's explaining the sabotage, the murder and obliteration of a machine spirit. The Magos is likely culprit. We should bring, heretic, this whole type of thing. But like his modulation is off, just ever so slightly.
I like it. The question is, I think with your passive awareness, Sister Nora and Sister Celeste, you would not have picked up on that. It's just too low. So do you want to shift your possible shift to glory?
Yeah, I'll put in glory. Yeah.
Okay. So you recognize that this nav comp was sabotaged. Do you then head down to talk to this administratum official?
Yes.
Are we talking to his friend first on the way to the?
His friend
official?
is his friend is
the
the
guy.
official.
Yeah.
We're
Barry.
going
okay.
to speak with Barry.
Barry.
Okay, we need to murder the other guy. Magos.
Possibly murder the other guy. Yes. So you get down there. The lifts do open up relatively near where the great cargo elevators are that go down to the World Fish dismantling yards, and you do see the administratum buildings right there to the side.
Yeah, I think Celeste will just continue right on through.
Okay. And as soon as you walk in, as soon as a sister walks in, the people in the lobby stand to attention. Sister, how may the administratum aid you in your service today?
We wish to speak with Barry.
Of course. I will have him summoned at once. And he types something down, and not 5 minutes later, you see this individual run through. He's in a little better shape than his friend. He's got a little better color to him. Probably also in his early 20s. You expect they probably grew up together. Yes. Sisters, my name is Barry. I'm told that you requested me.
Yes, we were just speaking with your friend Theodopoulos. And
Yes.
he advised that we should speak with you regarding the dismantling yards.
Oh, do you intend to go down to the dismantling yards?
We do have need to, yes.
Forgive my impertinence. To what purpose are you going? May I ask? It may help me understand how I can help you.
Yes, of course.
First, do you agree to take us?
Do you have
Then
an
we
office?
decide what information would be useful. And Mira's like,
yes, yes, sister. I will happily escort you, as the emperor requires all members of the administratum to serve. I will happily serve to guide you.
Do you have an office we may speak with you in?
Yeah, yes. It's not a very big office. We'll make do. We'll make do. He goes, I think I've got a small conference room I can lead us into. And he takes you deeper in the building. And, this building has seen better days. It's dark. It's grimy. There's mold on the walls. The constant sea air at this low level has really taken its toll. But you can also see pride in the building. It's obvious that they're trying to keep it nice. It's just they're losing a fight against the environment. And he brings you into a room. He's like, sisters, how may I help you? What is it you want to know about the dismantling yards?
There was a ship that was dismantled and parts were taken that we do require retrieval of.
Absolutely. Do you know where within the dismantling yards these pieces of technology are?
And she's gonna look at V briefly and then flick her eyes back to him. Magos Carburest, I believe, has them.
Oh, the Magos. Yes, he had a writ granting him access. I don't know where on the dismantling docks he would be at the moment, but once we get there, we can ask the Piscator foreman should be able to provide us information.
Excellent.
Celeste, was there not something about a skiff that he was putting these parts into?
Yes, I do believe so.
Oh, yes, he when he went down in the elevator, he had a skiff that you have to understand, part of the world fish process, other than the gross process of removing the scales and the meat, there are finer samples of neural fluids and aqueous fluid from the creature's eyes, etc., that are retrieved in smaller samples and have to be kept within certain environmentally sealed containers. He had a skiff that he was taking down for sample collection. It looked like a standard skiff to me with a standard servitor pilot, but if that's what you're looking for, we should be able to find it fairly easily.
Do we have a feeling that this guy is not on the up and up?
I don't know. Why don't you give me a roll and see? Do a little insight.
Where does it send it? My eyes don't work.
Difficulty 3. Difficulty 3. From everything you know of administratum officials, he appears, in your professional opinion, to be doing his job. Exactly. He's like, this is what I'm required to do. This is what I'm going to do. These people need my help. They've got the authority to require it. I'm going to execute my mission. You don't get the sense of any kind of duplicity out of him at all.
Okay.
More like this is something unusual, maybe interesting, might be something to break up the monotony of a normal work week, but that's the most you're getting out of him, is a little bit of piqued curiosity and maybe a little bit of excitement.
Okay. So I was thinking
more
if,
about-
if he seemed like he was lying, I was going to do a little.
I
But
get you.
Can
Doesn't
you tell
appear
us
to
more
me.
about the disappearances of previous Imperium?
Oh, that old wives' tale. That was generations ago, but there's probably some grains of truth with that, sir. You have to understand, the people who work down there, who work with the world fish, who work on the dismantling yards, 10 generations of their families have lived within a kilometer of where they are at right now. Their entire lives revolve around the world fish, the dismantling of the world fish. And it is one of the most crucial resources in the Gilead system. So they are allowed a great deal of flexibility when it comes to how they conduct themselves, as long as they meet the quota. You need to understand, it's called the Piscatator Collective. That's their ruling body. They worship the Emperor, but they call him the Fisher King. They speak the holy litanies, but their entire world revolves around these behemoths of the sea. And the quota is their form of worship. The old stories say that a group of Imperial agents went down there and started disrupting their efforts to gain information and to question them and pull them aside. And the quota fell off. And once the quota fell off, basically these Imperial agents had declared holy war against the Piscatator Collective, because the quota is their way of worshiping the Fisher King. So the rumor has it that they disappeared. No, when that came back up and the reason behind it was explained, it was determined that they're better off left alone. Because if the quota actually fell off by more than 2% over just a standard cycle, you'd start to see famine and riots. It's 90% of the people in this hive protein is derived from corpse starch and the world fish. The oils out of these are the lubricants for every single machine in this hive, and many machines off planet even. They're best left to their own devices, and they've never failed to meet their quota. So we allow them some flexibility. Now, that's not to say they're difficult to deal with. I go down there all the time. But as long as you're respectful of the Fisher King, respectful of the quota, and don't do anything to disrupt their work, we'll be fine. And if all you need to do is find this Magos and this skiff, shouldn't be a problem. Nothing happens down there that the Piscatator, nothing happens down there that the Piscatator Collective isn't aware is going on.
Wasn't he speaking about his stuff was getting installed in a research vessel instead of just a skiff, or did I?
No, it's a skiff. I'll repurpose
Okay.
skiff for sample collection.
Got it. Okay.
Sort of as he's trying to say, like, oh, when you go down there, tread lightly and be respectful, like Sister Nura is just sort of like, we will do what it takes.
I understand, sister. I would never try to tell such an important agent of the Emperor and of the Ministorum how to conduct their business. I am just equating the economic concerns of the planet and of the system and our own well-being while they're down here. I have no doubt the 5 of you are incredibly able combatants, but they are 10,000 members strong.
If sacrifices are necessary, sacrifices will be made.
Sister, I would never try to tell an agent of the Ministorum how to conduct their business. I will acquiesce to your demands and lead you down there.
We appreciate the insight, and I do not intend to disrupt this important work that they do down here for the Emperor. Or should I say the Fisher King?
Yes, it's... we've had some Ministorum officials have a very difficult time with that, but their worship has been observed and is in keeping within the Ministorum variances for worship of the Emperor. So, but thank you. I can take you whenever you're ready to go. We will have to outfit now, sisters. Your suits seal, and you can operate off of internal oxygen, correct? The rest of
Yes.
you, we will have to outfit with full face respirators.
And
And
just sort of sighs at this. We will wait outside.
And so he hands out, he gets a respirator for himself. He gives Byrrc a respirator, gives Wigbert a respirator, and gives V a respirator. You don't need to wear them right now, gentlemen, but once we get down and actually closer to the dismantling yards, there's enough toxicity to us coming off of the rendering plants that it would be very, very bad for your health if you weren't wearing one.
Do I need a respirator? Because I have augmentation to my chest.
No, you would probably be fine without it. So you could take one or not take one, depending on whether or not you want to blend in or not.
All right, so I'll take one then.
So he leads you over. He leads the five of you over to the elevator after he's outfitted everybody, and he's like, "I don't know what foreman's going to be on duty, but they're all reasonable. Would you like me to make the introductions, or would you prefer to act under your own agency when we get down there?"
We'll handle it ourselves.
Yes, sir. So the elevator goes down, and goes down, and goes down. And you sink deeper and deeper along the side of Hive Adon. It's an enclosed container. The winds and the rain slam against you, and then the fog gets so thick you can't even see out the windows when you continue to descend. Continue to descend. It takes about an hour before the elevator stops and the doors slide open. And the stench is almost overwhelming, even at this distance. I mean, you were several kilometers away from where he's pointed to where the dismantling yards are and explaining that it's still a fair walk out there. But the stench, even at this level of the brine and the decaying algae and some corrupting agents, is difficult to take.
As we were going down in the elevator, can Byrrc have inspected the respirators to ensure that they were in good, proper working order, and this worshiper of false idols didn't screw us?
Absolutely. Just give me a difficulty 1. These are very simple devices. Tech test.
Yeah.
Is the Fisher King considered a false idol?
He is accepted by the Ministorum as a face of the Emperor. And what that really means is the Ministorum, yeah, they're fine. All the respirators are good. What it really means is the Ministorum understands that if they stopped production of these dismantling yards, or made a fuss over it, half of the Gilead system would starve.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So they're accepting some things because in observing of their faith, they observe the Emperor within the tolerances. They just call him the Fisher King because they worship the great fish.
Got it. Okay.
So the Administorum agent's down there. He goes, well, if you just follow this path along, and you see this kind of a lighted, half paved, half dirt path that leads off, and you can see lights in the distance. He goes, if you just follow this straight, a member of the Piscator Collective will come out and greet you, and just tell him what you need. I'll be here at the elevator then.
I'm so thankful that you have appreciation of our ability to converse as needed.
Mr. Hahn said that you wanted to handle it. I just want to serve. I just want to serve your interests.
And Nura had just walked away.
Okay. So you guys stroll off. Those of you who need respirators, have you put your respirator on?
Yeah, well,
Excellent.
they're putting on their respirators. Celeste also thanks him, offers him a prayer if that's something that he chooses.
He greatly appreciates it. greatly appreciates it. He goes, "Sister, I'll be here at the elevator. If one of the piscators starts to get angry or irritated or starts to say that you're threatening the quota, if you give him the litany of blessing, it will probably calm them down and give you enough time to talk him down from whatever his concerns are."
Thank you. I appreciate that insight.
I'd like to experience the environment without the respirator before I put it on.
Okay, absolutely. So you start walking, and you're getting closer. You're getting closer. Like it's only about a kilometer away. When you get about 200 yards from the elevator, your eyes begin to water uncontrollably, and your sinuses evacuate completely. It's like you've gone. For those of you in the military or have been in the military, it's like going through a gas chamber. It's like being exposed to mustard gas. So the snot is freely running down your face. Your eyes are red and water is flowing down them. You feel at this point you would have a hard time fighting in your current situation. Do you continue to move closer without the respirator?
No, at the point it becomes unbearable, I will equip the respirator.
So you put your respirator on, and within a moment or so, it clears up, and you're able to breathe again normally, and your vision clears, and you're able to proceed. You do get relatively close, and as you approach, you're maybe 100, 150 yards away from these lights, and the lights, it looks like maybe a small city hab, 8 to 12 stories tall. You're approaching. But as you get that close, you realize that it's actually just a giant pink quivering mass of flesh, at least 10 stories tall. And based on how you see scaffolding stretching back, you figure this has to be at least 200 meters long. And you're still a good 60 yards away at this point as you approach. And at that point, you do see a group of individuals approaching you, probably 10 people, very large. I mean, they're all at least 7 feet tall, heavily muscled. They're wearing thick rubber boots and these dark yellow waders that go up over their shoulders, and they're covered in slime and bile and blood. And they're all wearing full face respirators. One stops about 5 yards away from you. He comes a little further out than the rest of the group, and he makes the symbol of the aquila on his chest, but then he flutters his fingers, and you almost get the impression that it's like the gills of a fish, or maybe the fins of a fish as it moves through the water. "How may we serve the Imperium of Man?"
Oh, am I?
Yeah, you're the nice one. You don't want Nara starting this conversation.
If Wigbert wanted to go, though, that's fine. I saw he was going.
Wish to find the foreman.
"I am the ship foreman."
Can you let us know if Magos' next time off or break?
Which Magos do you refer to?
Harborest?
He has a writ allowing him to conduct research here. He is not part of the Piscator Collective. Beyond the world fish that you see before you, there is a smaller one that has been mostly dismantled. He has been given permission to travel into the skull cavity of that. He is doing research on the brain or neural pathways. His writ was in order, and he promised not to upset the quota, and he has not in the week that he has been here. As far as I know, that is where he is at. I have not seen him leave the fish since he went within.
Who was it that gave him this writ?
Let me check. And you see him pull out a small slate, and he's looking at it. He goes, here. 6 standard days ago, Magos biologist Carborest arrived with a Ministorum signed writ. It was signed by Ministorum Deacon Irsic Tondar, the captain of a flotilla ship named the Prerogative. The writ gave him full access to the skull, brain, and neural fluids of a world fish for research. He was escorted to the fish we have claimed that he had claimed, and he was left there to his own devices.
We only have business with Mego Carborest. We seek permission to cross your business in order to speak with him.
As the Fisher King requests, and with an understanding that the quota shall not be compromised, I will send one of my associates to escort you to the fish, to the world fish in question, and leave you to your business. It has been mainly rendered down. There are no workers on that site. The quota cannot be disrupted within that fish.
Thank you.
And with that, he nods to an individual, and you see this other person looks. I mean, you would, if obviously they may look different under the respirators, but physically they look almost identical. And this large, hulking person just waves you on and begins walking off into this fog-enshrouded dock. As you get further on, you can hear the lapping of the water up against the side, and as you start walking past this other world fish, you can just see the enormity of it. It's just like this massive wall of pink bleeding flesh that goes up as far as the eyes can see. And you see tunnels, literally it looks like mine tunnels where they've just mined into the side of it, and they're pulling out just racks of flesh and bone and material. And off to the side, you see an area where they're working on the fish's scales. And you recognize, Byrrc, and some of the materials are taking off, that these are probably some of the materials from these scales are used in the manufacture of all sorts of armor cast, and even ceramite, you feel, is probably, these scales are used in it. So every part of the world fish is used. It takes you about 12 minutes to walk all the way past this fish to a smaller dock and a smaller fish. This is probably only 80 meters long, but it's mainly rendered down to bone. You see some material still on it, some flesh. The scaffolding is still all over it. There's great tarps over the sides of it to protect the bones that are harvested last. You go in through the tail and would make your way up towards the head. At this point, the pescatator stops. He goes, "If you simply follow straight up the carcass, follow the spine all the way up, you will find the Magos there. He's never left the fish, so he should be on site. As far as we know, he's literally sleeping within the skull, if he sleeps at all."
Thank you. I appreciate your assistance.
"In the name of the Fisher King and the quota." He just turns around and walks away.
Do we notice anything weird, like any extra, like possible exits that may have been created by the Magos through this fish?
Let's get a check. Give me a survival.
Survival. All right.
Survival difficulty 3 or an awareness difficulty 5.
I would rather try the awareness if someone else wants to try survival, but 5.
All right, 5. You got it. And you got a possible shift, so you can pop that over.
I'll take extra information if there is any. If not, okay, I'll put it to glory.
So looking at it, you do see several other what had at one time been tunnels in and out of this fish, but it looks like they were probably all made by the piscators during their reclamation. However, while you're looking at the tail end of this world fish and going in, you do notice that sections have been not really widened, but there's areas where the imprints in the ground are deeper. And based on what you know of these skiffs, it should not be this heavy, and you see the tracks moving in and out of the world fish, not all the way out, but once you get in, you can see that something has been moving around in here on tracks that passed away almost twice as much as you would expect a reclamation skiff to weigh.
Would that make sense with the amount of product that was taken from the ship that we were sent to reclaim?
No. There's far more weight that's been moved around on the inside of this world fish than you could account for in just the weight of the skiff itself.
Okay.
So, point of clarification. So the shuttle, there was another item on the shuttle. Did we get briefed on what it was? It was the codex, right? Like the book or whatever.
Right. Your main mission is to find the book, the Theories of Change, a study of control mutation. But you're also meant to kill the servitor to prevent potential spread of corruption. And if the cogitator, the main cogitator for the shuttle, could be retrieved, that was to be retrieved as well, just to see if there were any logs. Not navigation logs so much as just maybe personal logs to help identify members of the smuggling ring.
Okay. So Bjerk might, in sort of a rhetorical, like a verbal, theorizing between the codex that's missing, the machinery that they took from the shuttle, this giant fish, like I think he's beginning to theorize like what nefarious heretical things this Magos might be trying to do with the fish. He's in the fish's skull, he's accessing its brain, the computational power, so I think he's trying to, he probably doesn't know what it is yet, but I think he's just trying to work that out a bit in his head, and he might be having like these conversations with like Haster Cravo, like the two of them trying to do the calculations and figuring out just what exactly they could be doing in the brain and what kind of potential computational power a worldfish's brain might actually be able to provide, and how it like equates to that. So they're just sort of like saying this all out loud and doing math as we're traveling.
Give me a scholar check. Difficulty 3.
Hey, I'm scholarly. Okay.
Yay.
I'm smart.
I'm smart. I will spend a wrath and reroll, and I will, because I really want to get this right. I'm gonna burn that glory, guys. Sorry.
Do it.
We should have 2 glory.
No, she got an extra. She went for extra.
Oh,
I
that's
did
right.
info,
Extra information. Yeah.
4 successes.
So as you're sitting there talking with Haster about this, and you're talking about the world fish and its computational abilities, he keeps coming back to the book itself. Theories of Change, a study of controlled mutation.
Controlled mutation.
It's like, goes, if it is a Magos biologist, and he is interested in the world fish, perhaps he is interested in some form of mutation of the fish itself? Or something related to a mutation of the fish itself? Perhaps he is actually looking to find a way to increase production. It is difficult to say with the amount of information we have.
So he'll nod, and then Bjerk is working from the knowing that they blasted a machine spirit with radiation to kill it and cover their tracks. I think Bjerk is entirely suspicious of the Magus and will throw out even more heretical ideas, or they're trying to like graft something from the fish using something from the crypt to augment a mutation. And so I think he will, like, because the idea of just increasing quota almost feels benign relative to some of the other options it could be. So I think Byrrc will still keep that potential.
That is an absolutely valid point. So when you factor in the smuggling ring and what we know of them, there is a greater than 52% chance that the Magos biologist, even if he believes he is working in the name of the Imperium, has himself been corrupted in some way.
Yes. That is far too high a probability to allow him to live. Yes.
But we
Well
definitely
calculated.
cannot discount that possibility, sir.
Yes. It is our functional theory currently. Yes.
Maybe look at the rest of you. Yeah, good.
So, as you're talking and walking, what is everybody's passive awareness?
4.
2.
3.
4.
Okay, those with 4. As you're walking along, you do see small pict cams that have been installed. You notice several of them as you're walking along. And you saw no indication that the Piscator Collective would have any reason to put any kind of cameras inside a worldfish. So you can only assume that the Magos has installed some sort of passive security.
He knows of our arrival.
Yes. Should we disrupt them, Talov, or?
If you wish, I can do this, unless it will be misconstrued by these worshippers of the Fisher King.
We're in like a different one that they're like
Yeah,
exploring.
yeah. You're in a smaller fish that's basically been harvested completely at this point.
So yeah, I mean, I think Byrrc would be more than happy to try to do that. He has like his signal booster ability, so he can access things from a greater distance than normal. So he might be trying to like look for any signs and sort of channel a bit of motive force or trying to access it from a distance to see if he can shut down anything.
Yeah,
that might be
no rolls even required. These are very basic devices. You're easily able to connect to them and disable them as you come upon them.
Okay.
You make your way deeper in, and then it opens a little bit, and you're moving into the fish's skull, and you see towards the far end of the skull, you see this skiff set up, and it's set up like feels like a research area, but also has almost the feel of an altar to it. And you see large mounds of biological material spread around the floor. And right in front of the skiff, facing away from you, you see this large figure with his back to you, wearing the dark red robes of a Magos. And he holds up one hand, a very human-looking hand. He goes, "Hold for a moment. I just need to make a slight adjustment here."
All right, if no one else is going to do it, Byrrc will do it then. Byrrc will not hold for a moment, like, as this guy, like as far as Byrrc's motivation is concerned, this guy obliterated a machine spirit with radiation, and so Byrrc will step forward and will grab the hand if he can, that he's holding up. Just like grab the hand and try to spin him.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. You spin him around, and his hand is very cold and very clammy. And you spin him around, and you're looking face to face with a very human-looking Magos. But he is a biologist, so, it's not 100% unexpected. Ah, a brother of the motive force, yes. Well, what is it that I can do for you, sir?
So Byrrc at this point will look to Sister Celeste and Sister Nura and like giving you a beat before he does something rash and terrible.
So Sister Nura has raised her flamer, but is looking to Sister Celeste to...
Sister Celeste will step forward. I believe you have reclaimed some items through a writ that we now require to have.
Oh yes. I was expecting someone to show up eventually. The book, right? The here. And he points over and you see on this sort of research deck altar, you see a small tome. It's not even very elaborate. It's in this a red binding, and you could clearly see in high Gothic on the cover, Theories of Change, a study of controlled mutation by Magos Fex Sever 9. If the book is there, feel free to take it. I've already gleaned all the information I need from it. A very interesting tome. He had some very interesting theories. They've netted well with some of my own theories, but
I see. We also require the servitor from the ship.
oh, well, I mean, if you must, it'll be very difficult for me to get the skiff out of here without it. But how about this? I will remove my research from the skiff, and then you can just take the whole skiff.
And she's going to look to Talov to see what he feels of that. And what was the other item we were supposed to get? It was
the cogitator, from the shuttle.
And the last item we require is the cogitator.
Oh, yeah, it's installed in the skiff. It's part of the research package right there. You can see it there. I've got all the information I need. I mean, it's definitely going to hamper my research a bit to lose the skiff, but I'll take my samples and you can have whatever it is you need.
And what exactly is your research?
Oh, why, thank you for asking, sister. I do love, I mean, let's talk about mutation. Let's talk about the Imperium of mankind. Was it not the Emperor himself who, when creating his sons, used his own genetic code and mutated it to create the demigods of war that are the Adeptus Astartes? That was the beginning of controlled mutation in the Imperium. But no, I take that back. You take one step back. The Emperor himself, the greatest psychic mind known. That is mutation. And every psycho born since then is a mutant. And what do we do with them? The weak ones, the mad ones, are fed to the Emperor to protect the Imperium of Man. And the strong ones, they are given greater responsibility within the Imperium of Man. So we breed for strong psychics. Let us not forget the Navigator houses. That is the greatest mutation of the Imperium. Without the Navigator families, there would be no Imperium of Mankind. Without acceptance of that controlled mutation, there would be no Imperium of Mankind. And even the trivial mutations that we take for granted, the Ogren, the Ratlings, all of them were at one point humans who were mutated for a specific purpose to serve the Imperium of Man. I seek to unlock controlled mutations to help further the cause of the Imperium of Man against the true threats of the Imperium. Do you know who those threats are? Can you guess who the greatest threat against the Imperium of Mankind is?
Why don't you tell us?
Indeed. My research, my studies, it all began when we were looking for ways to stop the Tyrannid hive fleets. Those creatures, the Tyranids, are the epitome of immediate evolutionary change, mutation as needed immediately. You understand that if it were not for the greenskins, if it were not for the orcs and their pervasiveness and their strange biology themselves, if they were not here as a buffer against the Tyranids themselves would have already conquered the Imperium of Man. I was tasked as a young Magos to help find a way to slow the Tyranids. My initial research was into how to deactivate their own specific genetic markers that allowed them spontaneous mutation within a single generation. But I realized that wasn't enough. The hive fleets are too vast. There's no way to introduce a retrovirus that would affect them all. So what is a better way? A better way is to give our own forces the ability to mutate within a single generation as needed to fight against the Tyranids. And so that is why I'm here. I am pursuing controlled mutation at a macro level to protect the Imperium of Man. Now, I know some will say that this is madness, that this is folly, that this is against the Imperial Creed. But perhaps the Imperial Creed needs to change to understand the true risk.
So,
I need
Am I
everybody at this
understanding-
point, real quick, before we go on, I need everybody at this point to give me a difficulty 3 conviction test for being exposed to such heretical concepts.
corruption or mutation?
It's a conviction test against corruption. Yes.
Okay. 6 successes with a wrath critical and 2 possible shifts from Nura.
You're all good.
What did you say for difficulty again? Was it 3?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to change the difficulty.
You're
what's
fine. You get
the
6 successes.
difficulty?
It's 3.
I'm gonna spend a wrath point and see if I can get this.
Yeah, I failed. I'll spend a wrath as well.
Okay.
Oh damn! And I got a wrath complication.
I got
So-
3.
So Wigbert's fine. Celeste, you get 2 points of corruption. On a wrath complication, you double the corruption points. So you picked up 2. Talif, you pick up 1 point of corruption. And Gavious, you gain 1 point of corruption.
Should our corruption have been resolved from the last?
No.
Okay,
It never
just stays?
it never goes down. It just goes up and up and up. There are ways to reduce your corruption, but it's pretty hard.
Got it. Okay, so
So you're hearing this heresy, but I mean, and you don't feel the corruption burning in you. This is something that just it happens over time. This is like psychological warfare. It's just eating away at how you think. But how do you respond to his statements?
So this puts my corruption to 8 then.
To 8?
Yeah, because I was at 6. My faith is 7. I don't know if that means anything.
So at 8, you become
You have
tarnished.
7 faith?
Yeah.
So once you become tarnished, I need you to make a mutation check. So make
God.
another conviction test against mutation. Difficulty 3, modified by your corruption level. So for you, it'll be difficulty 4 now.
Okay.
Wrath critical, you reduce the difficulty by 2, so that takes the difficulty down to 2, which means you succeeded. So
Okay,
you're
cool.
okay. You do not get a mutation.
Awesome.
Come
So
now,
it
you
takes-
must understand that this is the way the Imperium moves forward against our enemies, particularly in a system like Gilead that is separated from the rest. There are no reinforcements coming. The Absolvers are not large enough force to stop. If a Tyranid hive fleet hits this system, we will all end. My research might be the only thing keeping us alive.
To add to this a bit, I have crossed the threshold into contaminated.
Okay.
I just
Oh my
realized.
goodness.
Let's do
What are you up
that conviction
12.
test then.
Oh dear.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my god.
So that's a conviction test, difficulty 5 for you now.
For mutation?
Yeah, because it's plus your conviction. So you're at +2 to your rolls now. So
I'm going to
2
re-roll
successes.
these.
all right, so you spend a wrath point. Let's pray for Gavious.
Nope.
So close. But let's go ahead and roll for your mutation. Roll a d6 for me. Or can you just hit that mutation button up top? Oh no, it went away. Okay. 3. All right, that's a minor mutation. So roll a d66.
Just roll 2d6s.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'll
Oh,
work.
it's just 2d6s.
Okay, let's see how they came up here.
52.
52. Corrosive miasma. You are surrounded by a miasma of subtle acids and toxins that spill forth from your pores and sweat glands. This cloud causes no direct harm to you, but it does cause increased wear on all your war gear and other possessions.
So
Consequently,
is this a Magic the Gathering player? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Whenever you suffer a complication, you may choose to have one item of war gear crumble and become useless. The GM can spend a point of ruin to choose the item of war gear that you have to lose. When you make melee attacks, you may shift, if you get a shift, to give the target the poisoned condition with a damage of 1 mortal wound. However, it is a miasma of subtle acids and toxins, which means it'll be a lot easier for the sisters to potentially discover it. Now, this won't manifest immediately, but you already feel a little change in your body.
All right.
So you've got that going for you.
More and more heretical. All right, let's go.
Okay, so how do you respond to this guy?
I was going to before he was confessing everything, I want to probe his mind a little bit.
All right.
Dig a little bit deeper.
So what power are you going to use?
Mind probe. So
talk to us about mind probe.
Mind probe is to activate this power, you must win an opposed willpower test with your target. If you succeed, you cannot probe the target's mind. You can now probe the target's mind for secrets until the power ends, or either party loses consciousness.
All right, and you have to make a psychic mastery test before you do the opposed willpower check?
I think it was just an opposed willpower check. It doesn't say anything about that.
Then give me your willpower check.
I'm just double checking. Yeah, so that's it. Says on each of your turns this power is active, you may ask one question. The GM will provide as honest answer as possible through the target's memories and mental visualizations as they stream into your own consciousness, but be aware that this answer may be skewed by the target's personal perspective. The target suffers 1d3 shock for each question answered this way. So it's just a willpower test.
No, yeah, it's an opposed test. Okay. Roll your willpower.
Okay.
Ooh, 6. That's nice.
With a shift.
And he only got 4. So you're in his mind. What would you like to ask?
What exactly are you doing to this world fish?
It comes back that you see images of him harvesting spinal fluid and neural fluid and neurons and brain tissue, and adding it to other things that he's harvested from other beings, perhaps. But that's the immediately you see he's literally harvesting samples and experimenting on them.
So as my shift, can I press on this one particular one without having to do it? So are you harvesting these materials in order to go, put through the smuggling ring?
When you probe his mind about the smuggling ring, you don't get any response, just confusion. He may be a benefactor of someone within the smuggling ring, but it does not appear that he's part of it himself.
Okay. I'm gonna do another question, so I have to do another willpower test.
Okay.
So roll. Oh no.
I love it.
And I'll roll a wrath.
It's another complication.
Yikes.
All right, let's see that complication. Oh, no, we're talking peril. Sorry, that's wrong. You get perils of the warp. You're using a psychic power.
Yeah. I did re-roll my wrath to get 4 successes.
I don't like the perils of the warp. Those affect other people too.
No.
It's really annoying.
Those are not fun.
What's the worst?
I just wanted to rip this guy's
happen?
arm off and beat him to death with his own arm. No. Talk to him. Now we're corrupted. Everyone's got mutation.
Talib like spun him around by the hand, and he's just like
I really, really wanted
holding
to,
his hand, like.
But I didn't want to, I didn't want to step on other people. I wanted to talk to them.
Sinister chorus. A sinister chorus of low laughter swirls around you all and those in the vicinity. All sentient creatures within 25 meters must make a difficulty 3 willpower test or become hindered for 1 round.
Shit.
Okay, so Celeste is hindered. Talib is
I'm
okay.
gonna spend a wrath to
hindered.
reroll that.
Okay.
Damn it, I'm still hindered.
Damn it, I'm also still hindered.
Give me that. Well, the complication, Sister Nura, is you're just caught off-footed. So this first round, you can either take a move. If it goes to combat, your first round, you can either take a move action or a combat action, but you can't take both.
Oh, it's going to combat.
I figured it probably would. Wigbert, you failed. He's not actually a gene stealer or patriarch. I just used his.
Sure.
He's not. But I will. He succeeded.
Because that's
He got
really
a couple
bad
of
for his
shifts.
case right now.
It'd be really bad for you guys because he would just
That'd be
flat out
really
murder
bad.
you all.
Yeah.
Okay, so as part of that, when he feels that, and he feels this horrible noise coming up, he lurches back, realizing at this point that you've been in his mind. And he's like, oh, I see now. You have no interest in the truth.
Does he still see that even though I re-rolled the wrath to beat his willpower?
Yeah, because you got a complication. The perils of the warp still happen. You can't re-roll a complication.
Well, all I'm saying is, this matters no matter if I beat him in a willpower test to do it.
No, you still get your question, but there was a psychic manifestation, and since he himself is a psychic, he knew what it was. So you can ask your question before he tries to kill you.
Yeah, so the question I have is where are you taking these materials? And can I do an and to this? Am I allowed to do an and to this?
It's a one question.
Damn it. Shit. Where are you taking these materials? Because there's a two. It's either like, where are you taking the materials and how can you justify this being a member of the Mechanicum? The flesh is weak. So that was like, but I only can do one, right?
You can only do one.
The destination is probably more important than his.
Where are you taking these materials?
Mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see in his mind's eye the dismantling yard of the world fish. Doesn't look like he's planning on taking them anywhere.
Okay. All right, hack away.
All right.
Can we?
So hold on for a second.
Yeah.
Please.
I'm just pulling some tokens out so you guys can.
Please let me murder him.
As he pulls out,
he's an admech who obliterated a machine spirit. Like, this is literally I feel like Barrick is just like seething and waiting for.
Yeah, I picture he's like just vibrating with anger.
Anytime.
Yeah.
So you guys see the tokens. They are not gene stealers, but I needed a framework to build them off of because what they are, I made up. So don't feel like you're facing gene stealers. It's something so much worse. But he pulls away. Everybody feels the psychic scream, and he is going to use his swift and deadly talent, which allows him to act first in combat, regardless of ruin or wrath spends or glory spends. And he is going to. He looks right at you, Gavious, having felt your mind, and you feel this mental onslaught try to crush you. What is your willpower?
I have a willpower of 6.
No, that's pretty good.
Is this it? Is this when I should have died 20 sessions ago. Is this it?
Possibly, but I mean, you're still here. I think you're going to be okay.
The sheer number of dice.
Right? My gosh.
9 successes. So he does succeed. Does not get any shifts. So we're going to roll damage first. 6 damage and 4 shock as his mind tears into your mind. And of course, you could still roll determination to move some of that damage over to shock as well. So 1 point goes over to shock. So you take 5 damage and 5 shock.
Ow.
Now I need you to make a difficulty 5 willpower test, which you'll probably be okay with. Nope. You are staggered.
Okay.
And let me look staggered up. I just had a complete brain drunk on that. You're off balance. You run too far. Blah, blah, blah. When you move while staggered, your speed is reduced by half. So you just can't move that fast.
That's
not a big
shame.
deal.
That's a shame for a psyker.
I know. It's horrible for you. And out of all this biological refuse, as soon as he let go of that mental onslaught, you see things erupt out of them. Directly off to the side, you see 3 mostly human individuals. They're big, hulking. You could still see they're wearing rubber boots. You think they were probably piscators at some point, but their skin is gray now, and they've got long talons, and their eyes have gone completely black, and their mouths are these gaping maws now with rows and rows of triangular teeth in them. But more disconcerting is from the large pile to his right comes a creature that's clearly related to what they were becoming, but this is at least 12 feet tall. And if you liked Suicide Squad 2, it looks just like King Shark.
Ooh.
No.
You know who it also could be?
Could be.
Could also be Prince.
It could be.
Could be him.
Prince.
So guys, we can't hurt
Could
him.
be Prince. Prince could be coming for dinner. Prince could be coming for dinner. But so it's back over to you.
Yeah, I mean, Talib has been like chomping at the bit. And would
Yeah, go
like
for
to just like with great disdain, like he says something very low. You like seeing this Bagos like experimenting with the flesh, and in doing so, he like obliterated the machine spirit to sort of like funnel his research into mutating the flesh. Is just like there's just so much disdain right now. So I think Barrick is going to wild attack to try to just lay everything into this guy.
I like it.
All right, so I'm rank 3 now. So that means, so I'm using my wild attack. So basically what that means is when I do an all-out attack, I gain plus rank bonus in dice, so I get +3, and I can choose to sacrifice shock equal to my rank. So I'll do another 3 as well, and if I hit anyway, let me just roll to attack first, because then that goes to damage. So
his defense is 3.
Okay. So it's going to be an extra 3. And I will... Yep, here we go. That is 7 successes, a wrath critical, 2 shifts possible.
I love all
Nice.
of that.
Okay, so I'm going to shift everything to damage.
So it's 2 extra points of damage.
Okay, and then I have the critical. Do you want me to roll the critical first?
Yeah, let's see what the critical looks like first.
All right, so the critical is Murderous Onslaught. A thunderous blow sends the target sprawling. Shattered ribs pierce organs. Jets of blood spew for the wound. And the foe lies writhing in pain. Suffers 2 mortal wounds and is knocked prone. And we get +1 wound for every glory we spend.
Yep, every glory you want to spend gets you an additional wound on top of it.
Okay. So
he's got 2. So he's got 2 wounds that he can't soak.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you this, and it might help you decide what you want to do. When you struck him, his body gave in unnatural ways, like it was almost covered in some sort of flubber. And as you push him down, as he's starting to fall prone, you see where you would expect to see like mechadendrites or something else from a normal Magos, you see fleshy tentacles coming out of his body, and his body is very rubbery.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to spend 3 to leave us 1 glory for taking initiative. I'm going to roll my damage. And so I'm going to roll. I'm also going to get. I'm also sacrificing 3 shock to get 3 extra damage dice from my wild attack. So I'll roll those separate because I don't think I can actually affect it this way. So roll damage plus the 3. Okay, so 15 points agonizing and brutal plus the extra damage from glory. So that should be 17 plus 3 more damage dice that I'm rolling now from my wild attack. So that should be, that's 1 6 in there.
So that's 2 more, so 19.
So 19 points of damage.
AP 2. So let's see here. So that takes his resilience down to 5. So he takes 14 and 2 mortal wounds.
And 3 more, because I spent 3 glory for the crit. So he's going to get 3 wounds for that. And for every wound he takes, he's also taking shock because I have an agonizing weapon.
So describe what it looks like. This guy had 18 wounds.
Yeah.
And you killed him in 1 blow. You killed my main bad guy in 1 blow. I'm impressed. That was nice.
He made me very mad.
Clearly.
So I think, I mean, like, this is even before Celeste usually charges him, but I do feel like they're like his electrical charge begins to sort of grow around him. His electus start to move with greater frequency than normal. Like this cackling electricity just comes coursing through his staff. He twirls it up, reaches out, kind of pulls the arm back, and just with the actual staff, normally he bludgeons people with it, but he literally just impales him with it. And as he does, he just keeps jamming and twisting the like that flange at the end of the staff all through, and just is kind of circling it around, and then pulls and effectively disembowels him, just yanking every little bit of insides and just letting it spill onto the floor. And he turns around, and like in his, whereas normally his eyes, he doesn't have any. They're just these melted sockets. Like they're like coursing with like this electricity as like this anger is just sort of shifting through him.
And you killed him so quickly. He did not even have a moment to say anything. He just has a shocked look on his face as he falls. However, the giant Homo Cacarodon attacks.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he's going to do a multi-attack because he's got a special multi-attack called Thrashing Bite. So it reduces his multi-attack penalty significantly. So he is going to attack. Well, you're over by the boss. So he is going to attack the 2 sisters and Wigbert. So it's actually +2 difficulty for him since he's doing 1 extra attack beyond the one that he has beyond his second free one. So we'll start with Wigbert. What is your defense?
3.
Okay, so it's 5 effectively now. And what happens is this thing moves like lightning, and its jaws just open wide, and it's literally jaws open wide enough to probably eat you in a bite as it comes rolling around and thrashing. So he gets 9 successes. 2 possible shifts, which he'll shift for damage. You are poisoned, staggered, bleeding, and hindered. So you're basically in his jaws as he's grinding away at you. The poison increases your difficulty by 2. At the end of your next turn, you'll take a point of bleeding. And obviously your movement is hindered, but that doesn't really matter that much because you're in the jaws of a giant shark man. 25 damage minus your resilience.
That was 6. So he's doing 19 to me.
19 damage. What's your wounds total?
7.
7. So that's 14. So he does over double your wounds. So you're bitten in half, Wigbert, and dying.
Can I roll
Hmm?
determination on this at all?
Oh, yeah. By all means. Sorry, I apologize. Definitely, please do roll determination. Because that's horrible. I mean, that's just horrible.
I don't think I got
Oh,
anything
you
out
got
of it.
4. So
4.
you take 4 shock, and then you only take 15 points of damage. So now you're just dying.
Not bad.
That's not as bad.
Yeah.
But you are bleeding and poison as well. Then it
Is
thrashes.
Is it bad when I open my Wrath and Glory core rulebook? It pulls up immediately to the dying page.
That's what our
Interesting.
last session was like. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as it thrashes around, you guys see Wigbert's wrecked body kind of chewed over to the side of its mouth and half spit out on the ground as it bites out at Sister Celeste. What is your defense, Sister Celeste?
Oh, it's shit. I have 1 defense.
Ooh, that is bad. So defense effectively of 3. Only get 7 successes, but that's enough. 1 possible shift. So you were also poisoned, staggered, bleeding, and hindered. Man. What is your resilience?
My resilience? Jesus Christ. 7?
7. Okay, so that's down to 18. Do you want to roll determination?
Yeah, I probably should.
I probably should.
Man, I should have taken that one thing before I started if my stuff wasn't broken. No.
I feel like Aaron's working something out right now from the last. He's getting a little something out of his system.
Never make fun of me at the end of a stream about not killing people. No. Okay, so you soak
Justin,
1.
jerk.
So you soak 1. So you were down to 17 damage, and you take 1 shock. What is your total wounds?
6.
6. So yeah, you're dying as well.
Yeah.
You've technically exceeded the massive damage threshold, which would be insta-death, but I really hate insta-death rules, so I'm just going to put you at dying, and your power armor is destroyed.
Okay.
As he
Is
swings...
it really an episode if I'm not dying?
It's not, really. It really isn't. It really isn't. And then for the end of its attack, it swings out to bite Sister Nura. You see the ceramite plates of Sister Celeste's armor in its mouth as her broken and mangled body is on the ground next to Wigbert's bleeding out body. What is your defense?
3.
So it's 5 for this. It's 8 successes and a possible shift. Only 22. Only 22. So what is your resistance?
My resilience is 10.
Resilience 10. Oh, so that's good. That's 12 down to 12. Do you want to roll determination?
Sure.
Okay, so that's 3 off of that. So you're down to 9 points of damage and 3 shock.
8 wounds.
So you are also dying. So the 3 of you are dying. Sister Celeste took the biggest brunt of it, and her armor was destroyed. But all 3 of you have the dying condition. But it's back to you guys now.
Okay.
And remember, you can always spend glory to seize the initiative at any point if you want to go twice. There are 3 enemy individuals who have not acted. They are not nearly as big or as tough as the thing that just mauled through you, but they're there. But it's still there too, so...
Sister Nura would like to shoot this thing with her flamer.
It's a wonderful idea.
And so she will... so she's going to use Dead Shot, which is aim and called shot.
To get extra damage dice?
Right. So there is a... so my called shot depends on... I feel like it's medium. Like this thing is huge. So like...
I don't think you could do a called shot because that sacrifices your movement, right?
Oh, and I technically don't have movement because
That's right, because the moment you're dying,
okay.
so you can only take a
Sure.
basic combat action.
Okay. Okay, then this is just going to be a straight shooting at this thing.
Okay, now your difficulty, its defense is 3, but your difficulty is 2 greater because you're poisoned. So the difficulty becomes 5.
Difficulty. So base is going to be 5, and then it's going to be higher than that because of all of the wounds that I have.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah.
You do Wrath?
I will do Wrath, and I suppose I need to leave the glory in there.
I don't know. You might want to spend it. Oh yeah, seize the initiative. That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, so I'll spend my Wrath to re-roll, but I'll leave the glory there for initiative purposes. Come on. Do better. 7 successes.
Nice. Roll damage. Ooh, nice.
17 damage. AP -1.
Sweet. Okay. You see this strike its rubbery body, and you see burns appear on its flank, but not as deeply as you would expect. It's almost like the skin of this thing has its own kind of slimy coating. And though it does burn, it's not as much as you were anticipating.
Sure.
Wigbert, Celeste, V, anybody want to seize the initiative?
I'll seize the initiative. So I'll spend the glory. I'm gonna try and compel this shark man. So talk about compel again. Compel is you implant a simple command in the mind of a nearby creature. This command must be short, consistent, and single action, simple and obvious, but can otherwise be overcome. The target creature must successfully pass a DN4 willpower test or be compelled to obey.
Okay. Just want to make sure, is there any restrictions on what you can compel it to do?
Just simple commands. Commands must be short, consisting of a simple action, simple and obvious, but not otherwise overcome the given creature's own interests or base instincts.
So it can't overcome its base instincts?
Yes. So with base instincts, if I told him to go bite his friends, is that against his base instincts?
You would guess that it would be against its base instincts. Well,
because they're not fully changed yet, you know.
Oh, it says it can overcome their base instincts, not cannot. So yeah. Go for it. Give it a shot.
No, you have to do a D4.
No, it's a difficulty 5 psychic mastery check for you to enact the power, then a difficulty 4 willpower check for me to resist it.
So 5. Yep, got it.
You got it. All right, let's do a willpower check here. All right, he fails. So you see it shift. You see its black eyes roll back, and then you see its muzzle, its snout shift over and look at the other 3 and begin to move that direction. I mean, it doesn't get an action yet, but next turn it looks like it will be following your psychic suggestion.
Will they notice that it's coming after them? And
it's hard to miss a 12-foot tall shark man coming at you. So.
Would they have to react to such an action?
And they could choose to react to it.
Just wondering.
Yep.
Maybe safety.
And in fact, one of them, the one whose turn it is, does, and he sees this thing coming at him, and he lurches out of the way and tries to claw at it, not particularly successfully. Bring it back to you guys. Sister Celeste or Wigbert?
Go ahead, Wigbert. I think Celeste may be AFK.
Ah, yes.
Okay. Then while I'm half in this guy's mouth, I'm going to swing away within it. I'm pinned down. I have duty till death, so if I'm dying,
Mhm.
able to act normally,
Oh, nice.
then begin dying afterwards.
That's a helpful talent.
So I'm going to take multi-attack,
Mm-hmm.
swing whatever I can.
You can get up and engage as many of them as you want. You guys are in relatively close proximity. It's just you increases your difficulty by 2 for each additional person you attack. So how many of them, of the 4, how many do you want to attack?
Can I attack the same one instead of multiple?
Yeah. How many times do you want to attack the same one?
Out of 3 to increase it by 4.
So increase by difficulty 4. Yep. And you're attacking the big one?
Oh, wait. I forgot about the poison stuff. That'll increase the difficulty well. I'll just do 2.
Okay. So 2 attacks on the big one. So that with the poison, it'll take the difficulty to 5. With the additional, it'll take the difficulty to 7, plus your wounded condition, but that'll auto-calculate. So if you put base difficulty 7 in there, you should be okay.
Okay. I got 8 successes.
Nice. Roll damage.
10 damage.
Okay, so with your first attack, you strike through and you cut into the rubbery flesh of this creature. It doesn't look like it did quite as much damage as you were anticipating, but blood and ichor is flowing out of its side.
With my blood must flow talent, I can spend an exalted to make him bleeding.
Okay, so he's bleeding. And I need you to make your second attack. Same difficulty.
Scene attack, 4 success, but I'll wraith this one to reroll.
Okay.
Giving me 6, not quite there.
All right, so the second attack comes through. You hit it, but you're just not able to cut through this blubbery hide of it. But you're right up there in the midst with this.
And then I'll take a major wound because I'm bleeding.
Well, you don't take it till the end of your. You don't get it on the same round as you took the wound, so it'll be next turn. I'm cruel, but I'm not that cruel. But you're up there, and you're still fighting. So this other hybrid Cacarodon is going to attack you. What is your defense?
3.
All right. So we get 9 successes, 2 or 3 possible shifts. It's not really going to matter. What is your resistance or resilience?
6.
6. Okay, so 6 damage goes through. Do you want to attempt to soak some of that with determination?
Yeah, I've shocked despair, so I'll try.
Okay. Okay, so you soak 2. So you take 4. So you take damage. You take 2 shock, but you take a traumatic injury now because you're dying and you took a wound.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Roll a d6 for me.
3.
A 3. So roll another d6.
5.
5. So he slashed through. It slashed down your right leg, and the talons bit through your Achilles tendon and severed your right foot. So that's your first traumatic injury. If you take 3 more traumatic injuries, you're dead, but you'll be fine. You guys we've already proved to me you're invincible. But it's back to you. If is Sister Celeste back?
Yes. Hi.
Crush them. There's the large mutated Homo Cacarodon, and there are 3 hybrids. However, the shark man, the Homo Cacarodon, has been psychically coerced to attack its associates. So it has moved off of you guys and is attacking them. But the 3 of them are still up. You saw one of them just claw through Wigbert because he had moved into melee. What would you like to do?
I think because she's prone, or as I imagine, as she got shaken out of its jaws, she got thrown on the ground. And so Celeste does what she normally does, where she just reaches down to her own gut and she takes just a handful of her blood and she again smears it down her face as she creates this cross. And she starts chanting as she's gazing at Talov with her eyes, and they kind of shine this like brief golden reflection as she casts the passion upon him. So again, the passion is I select a character with the Imperium keyword within hearing range, and they gain plus double rank bonus dice to weapon skill tests for the next round, or for 1 round.
Nice.
I like it. All right, the last one is going to attack one of you. So let's roll a d6 and see what we get. 5, 1, 2, 4, 5. Sister Celeste. So he hears you chanting, and sees you make this, and sees your scattered power armor. And in a rage leaps at you with his rending claws and strikes out at you. What is your defense?
1.
1. This could be rough.
I do only have
I think I'm gonna
one.
die, right?
Did you switch your power armor back on? Your sororitas power armor? Because like mine was still on the light power armor from when we were undercover.
Technically, she doesn't get it at the moment anyway because it's been destroyed.
Yeah, but as a Sister Hospitaller versus a Sister of Battle, my defense was only 1.
Okay.
All right, so let's roll.
Tried.
We'll roll the critical first. Brutal rupture, mangled flesh, crushed bones, ruptured organs. Take 1 wound and you're hindered. So, regardless, you're going to take at least 1 wound, so you take a traumatic injury. So go ahead and give me a d6 roll.
Three.
Hey, everybody's rolling 3s. Roll me another one.
1.
So it comes over and it's clawing and it tears the lower half of your left leg comes free from your calf down to your foot.
So yeah, because I already have augmetic legs.
Oh, both of them are already augmetics?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. Your torso's augmetic. Your eyes.
My right arm. My left arm isn't.
Okay. Yep. It's your left arm.
Okay.
Tears your left hand off.
Okay.
Rips it off and throws it in its mouth and crunches down on it. You have 1 traumatic injury. You're bleeding. You're dying. Brings it around to the top of the round. Who'd like to go?
She's just a torso now.
Yeah.
That's all she is.
That's what?
Mostly
She's more than
Mechanicum
that.
now.
I got
Yeah.
my face.
She's
and
one
my
of
brain.
she's one of my people now. Welcome. Yeah, I think Barrick's gonna go. He's innervated from Sister Celeste. So in terms of like the biggest, baddest looking enemy, what are we talking about? Which
12-foot tall, the 12-foot tall humanoid shark.
Okay,
That
and that's
literally just almost killed your whole group.
And that okay.
The other 3 are human size and look mostly human with some shark features and some claws, but they are not nearly as terrifying.
And Gavious has compelled one of them. Which one is he compelled?
He compelled the big one to attack the little ones, and that's what it's doing.
And how long does that last, Gavious? Like, would I have an idea of how long such a compulsion would last?
I think it's just 1 action, but
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's just.
So on its turn, he's going to
1
attack.
round.
He's going to attack like his enemy, or he's going to attack the other little ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, screw it. I'm just going to charge at him. I don't care.
I love it.
So Beer's going to charge in. So I am going to take the literal charge action.
Nice.
He's innervated from Sister Celeste, and that's 2 times my rank. You said, Sister Celeste, is that correct?
It is
Or is it just my
double
my
rank bonus dice?
Okay, double rank. All right. And so charge also is a +1. So that's going to give me +4 on this attack. Yeah. So I got +4 on my attack to this guy.
His defense is
And-
3
All right.
because you haven't been injured yet. So
I don't like the word yet in that sentence, Aaron.
I'm a bad man. I've been telling you that
charging at the guy.
for years. I've been telling you I'm a bad man. So
There's some
all right,
word
so
choice
+4.
there.
Oh, that's good. I'm just double checking to make sure I don't have any extra bonuses that I need to worry about. And is he off by himself?
no, well, I mean,
Never mind.
he's next to Wigbert at the moment, and
Okay.
and you guys are all relatively close. I mean, it's not a huge distance, but he's closer to the 3 of his former companions and Wigbert than anyone else.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. All right. I can't do my wild attack since I'm charging. So here we go. 12 successes.
Nice,
Nice.
nice. 4 possible shifts. That's nice too.
I'm gonna shift 1 into glory for initiative purposes and 3 into damage.
I like it.
So +3 to this damage. So that's 16 damage.
AP2.
AP2, agonizing as well. So however many wounds he takes that much shock as well.
Okay. You definitely inflict damage on it, but it's still going. It still looks fairly healthy.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if there's anything I can do.
As its teeth start to glow with electricity and thrash around, and this close you can see the poison oozing out of its mouth.
So can you re-roll damage dice with a wrath?
I
I don't remember.
I don't know. Let's check it out.
Because there's I only got 1
It just says
damage
dice
die.
pool for a test.
Well, damage dice isn't a test, so if that's what it says, then the answer would be no.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say no.
Okay. All right.
All right. Does anybody want to seize the initiative?
We don't have any
Yes.
glory.
Yes, you do. You got
We-
1.
You got
just
1
got
point of
it.
glory.
Whatever.
All right, so go
Do you
ahead,
want to
Cecil.
go?
You can go if you want.
Okay. I'm going to flame it.
All right, Sister Nura. You start to go. The bleeding. Your body continues to bleed out. So you take 1 wound, which for you is a traumatic injury. So give me a D6.
D6 rolling. That's a 6.
6. An eye.
Oh, no.
Roll a 1 to 3 for me, or a 1d6.
1d6 again. I rolled a 2.
A 2. Okay. So your left eye. I mean, the way it raked you and bit you up, there was damage to the eye, and you could feel it. But the aqueous humor in the eye, the skin of the eye finally completely perforated, and the aqueous humor in it just kind of flows out as your eyeball deflates. Your difficulty increases by 2 as you have lost your left eye. You may.
Well,
So
all sacrifices for the Emperor.
backed.
All right. So still trying to go flamer with this.
And you're poisoned, so the difficulty is 7. Plus your wounded conditions. So
Well, shit. Dice pool 7, difficulty 7. Let's see the struggles because I am out of wrath.
you'll be fine.
That is 8 successes for my target number was 8, and I got a wrath critical. So
That is awesome. See, the Emperor does protect. For those of you who didn't believe it,
oh shit, that's 2 6s on my critical hit.
nice. Roll a d6.
Grisly amputation is what I rolled, and then I rolled a 1.
Okay. Roll your damage.
$18 damage.
Okay.
1 AP.
You have 2 points of glory. You can do 2 additional mortal wounds to this creature if you want to spend all of your glory, in addition to what you already did to it.
Looking at everybody, should I leave one to seize the initiative or just do both? Just do both.
Just send it.
Yeah, I don't think we can anyway, because didn't you use it to?
Oh, because we just did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, just do it all.
Then I'm spending both for mortal wounds.
What's it look like? Because you needed to spend both of them to kill this thing. But what's it look like when you murdered this?
So Nura was just already just distressed by just this speechifying that he was doing. And clearly all of it was heretical. And the speed with which this creature kind of comes out and just makes just about everyone else in her party dying. And then she loses her eye, and she has been of pure body, so to speak, up to this point in terms of our combats and everything. And so she kind of covers the eye, and she's just got the flamer, and she just sort of like just focuses in that sort of, singing a hymn to herself kind of a way, that this is something that she needs to be successful in, because another round of this thing is going to be absolutely awful. And so she's just sort of channeling kind of all of the prayerful hymns that she can as she just lets this flamer go.
And it's a lance of this promethium. Strikes exactly where Birk had struck with his electro staff, weakening its tissue. The plasma fire just streaks through into this thing's body and cooks it from the inside out. And as its blubbery body falls, you see the 3 mutants run off and run towards the exits of the world fish as 3 mortally wounded members of your team lay on the ground. You guys are all dying, so we still need successful medical checks for the 3 of you. We're still sort of in initiative because you're still taking bleeding conditions, but there's nobody who will oppose you at the moment. So who would like to go next, and what do you want to do?
Could I cast something and then attempt to heal someone?
Nope. The moment since you're dying, you can only take a basic action. So you can only do one thing.
Okay. I guess I'll just try and heal Wigbert, because he's our second healer.
Okay.
And he is dying.
All right.
And then I have Wrath, so I'll Wrath it too.
Okay.
Five successes for now.
7. No shifts though.
No shifts. So you heal 1. So Wigbert, you feel the healing energy, the bandages she's putting on to you, the unguents that she's using, managed to close up your wounds enough that you're sort of snapped back to consciousness. You have 1 wound recovered, so you are no longer dying. Sister Celeste, how many traumatic injuries have you taken today? Just the 1?
I think so.
Well, let's
Please
give you a
just
second one, because it's the end of your turn and you're still bleeding. So give me a d6.
4.
Boy, there's really not much left of your body.
No, there's not.
I'm just going to say it takes the rest. You bleed out and you take enough damage that you think you're going to lose your left arm.
Okay.
There was enough damage to it that you are going to it's going to have to be amputated. Oh, Wigbert, you're up.
Yeah, return the favor and try to patch up Sister Celeste.
All right. Go ahead and give me that Medicaid check.
What's the DN?
Please. DN3.
Might be a bit difficult with all my
Wounds,
conditions right now.
You got it.
Oh,
Oh,
actually,
no, you didn't.
it doesn't work. I
Oh.
needed 7 apparently.
Aw. Damn.
There's the poison and all that.
Yeah, you're working feverishly on Sister Celeste, but you're not able to bring her back around this round, at least. Gavious. I think you're the only one left.
So who still needs patching up? And do I even have that ability?
Nura and Celeste.
Sister Nora and Celeste are currently dying. You would have to have the Medicaid skill. At least one pip in it.
Nah, I don't have anything. So I'm not sure exactly what I can do to help in this particular situation.
Put her out of her misery. I'm just kidding, actually.
So I pull my pistol out. I'm not sure what to do. I know it's my turn.
Do you have like any kind of medical kit or Medicaid kit or anything of that nature in your inventory? You could also search around and see if this Magos biologist had anything.
I search around to see if there's anything to save my friends with.
Give me an awareness check.
Wait, are we calling him friend? Were we at that point with him? I don't know. Like, we're colleagues.
Got it, with a Wrath critical.
I survived a crashing ship with them, so I'm a friend.
I'm going to say with the Wrath critical, you do find a couple of Medicaid kits. And with that, you're able to stabilize Sister Nora and Sister Celeste before they take any more damage. You've secured the book, you've secured the servitor, and you've secured the cogitator, and you're able to communicate with the administratum individual that you need medevac and assistance, and he is making arrangements for that. And that is where we are going to end tonight with our team almost murdered again, as close as I could get it. Sister Celeste is now a full Borg conversion cyborg. She's even more augmented than Beric, I believe, at this point. But
I think so. Yeah,
it could be. You have more mechanical. Like, I'm all like internal. Like everything, all my circulatory system and everything is just like electrical cords and stuff. Yeah.
So join us again in 2 weeks to see what else I can carve off of Sister Celeste's body, if anything. As we continue with the Litanies of Lost, and we'll be jumping into the next full adventure in 2 weeks. Jeff, it's all you.
All right. Yeah, I feel like at some point Burke just turns around, sees everyone's like almost dead. Like, what happened? Well, I one shot the boss. What are you guys doing? Oh, whatever. Anyhow. Okay, so let's see. What do we got going up next? Tomorrow, next game, Call of Cthulhu. We're back to it. Come check that out. We just finished up LA, and so we're going to be doing some in between stuff and possibly starting the next location. Monday, we've got Fragged Empire, so more space shenanigans. And then Tuesday, you can see a couple of us here, Aaron, Melissa, myself, playing some Frontier Scum. I shall pronounce it correctly. With our old friend Derek. Derek has he's been gone from the stream for a couple years, but he's
when
back.
I saw that, I freaked out. I was like, "Oh my god!"
It's either Derek or it's Cowboy Jesus. I don't know, because that's kind of what he looked like. So it's one of those two things. And then next Thursday we should be back to Simba Room with our wonderful dark fantasy RPG. And then next Friday we got more Delta Green. And then Aaron, what's going on with Garblag?
Hey, yeah. So on Garblag next week, Tuesday, I think is still to be determined. But on Wednesday, join us on YouTube. We're streaming directly to YouTube now on Garblag. We'll be back to Warhammer Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The great and wonderful GM Jim is running us through his Madcap campaign. And if you haven't checked out the first episode, you should, because it's a hoot. We're getting ready to get in the middle of a bar fight with a whole pack of halflings, and I'm telling you, if you haven't experienced that at least once in your life with Jim running it, you are missing out. Then on Thursday, it will be hysterical. His halflings are the best. On Thursday, Ben will be back in the driver's seat, same time, continuing his run of Modifius's Dune Season 3 House Dargouche Hanley.
Perfect. All right. And that's it for us. Then we're going to go ahead and raid our buddies over at Finish with Cobalt who are playing some Pathfinder. So follow the raid. Have a great rest of your night. Come back tomorrow for some Call of Cthulhu. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Good night.